It's my perspective. No matter your race, no matter your age. On my perspective. Don't even worry about your fear. Come on and bring your thoughts. Let's talk about it. What's going on? Let's bring our thoughts together. It's my perspective. Hello, hello. Howdy, partners. Are we on or not?
Oh my God.
Welcome to the pantomime hour.
I
Hi.
told you, like I
Welcome.
said, Mark, I said, you're on in 3, 2, 1. Like it's our first time doing this. It's the
Yes,
first
but I'm
day.
I love it. Song,
We
okay?
usually wait for the music.
I'm used to hearing the song. That's my
She's
cue.
doing
I know,
her
but
best Marceau impersonation for a second.
I counted you down though.
I know, but it's you know what? In all thy getting, get an understanding. It's best to get an understanding, or you're gonna blow it, like I just did. But anyway, hey everybody, thanks and welcome to My Perspective Mondays. Thank you for your patience.
Well, are we on?
Are we?
We're recording
That's
right
so
now.
crazy. That's so crazy.
Mark's gonna say rewind the tape because he's old. Can we rewind the tape?
Oh my God.
Guys, let's start over. Pause, rewind.
Mark's about to walk through his room looking for his cassette tapes.
Oh my
We'll do it again. Here we go.
It's my perspective. No matter your race, no matter your age. On my perspective. Don't even worry about your fear. Come on and bring your thoughts. Let's talk about it. What's going on? Let's bring our thoughts together. It's my hello, and welcome to. Why y'all crazy?
I wonder if
Oh, look.
are people taping this on their 8-track recorders?
We're 15 minutes late. We still can't get it going. Oh, all right. Go ahead. Poor Weenie. He's so used to professional streams.
My shirt off on stream last time with you.
Lord have mercy. I done got musty up here, I tell you.
Whoa.
We didn't need to know that.
Right.
Y'all family. Y'all family.
No.
You got to share the musk, okay?
You
I do.
may be part of the family that we don't associate with since we're talking about people we don't like to be around.
Oh my.
Is that the topic today?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Present company accepted.
Wow.
Oh, man. So what are we talking about today, Lisette?
This is what we're talking about to all y'all out there in the space land out there. We're speaking about today trying to handle people that you do not like, or you don't like, and really they don't like you either. So ain't no liking going on. So how do you deal with the situation? How do you go on through life? How do you do what you got to do? How do you eat your food? How do you drive? How do you work? How do you whatever? You do.
Okay.
How do you do it?
How do you do it?
How do you do it? How do you do it?
We stop the madness.
Pardon my French, and I'm sorry for any Christian or virgin ears. What the fuck are you talking about?
How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? How
All
do
right.
you?
So what in all that babble, what she's asking is, how do you handle being around people that you don't like to be around? Because in some places you can't avoid it, such as work. They might be in the same church. They might be in the same social settings. They may be family members and things like that. Which one should we dive into first?
Family.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's like we could spend a week talking about that, and not solve
We
anything.
really could.
well,
Well,
you
it
got
depends on
45
if
minutes left.
you mean family that you live with. Okay, and a family that your cousins, your in-laws that you only have to see a few times a year. You can deal with that. But the
Some,
family is something else.
some.
Otro trabajo, Bredo.
So I actually have a really valid point and question regarding this. Actually,
That's
I
usually awkward.
Those are always good.
How do you define a family?
right. I think it's so odd when there's like a family event or a wedding and you're forced to invite people that you don't get along with or don't have a good relationship with just to appease other people in your family. I
Oh yeah.
find that as adults, I feel like if they are not good to you and there's just the negativity, it's just odd to me that you're forced to invite people. And in situations of like weddings and baby showers, you got to pay for these people to eat, and you don't like them.
It's too
Well,
late.
I
Especially
think
the
about
one
that
you
just a
don't
couple of
like
years
them.
ago. My mom turned 90 years old in 2020, and in May of 2020,
Wow.
and we were going to have a party for her and all this, but it got canceled because of COVID, so it became a moot point. But when it came time to, because she came from a very large family, she was like she's still alive, one of 8 children, and all the cousins and in-laws and so forth. And when it came time to start inviting people, she's at a station in life where she says, "Don't bother inviting that one. I don't. They're no longer a part of my life, and I don't dislike them. I don't hate them. Just don't bother inviting them." So you get to a station in life, and I'm approaching that where either because of choice or because of just the way life shakes out, I don't have to spend much time around people I don't care for, and that's something
Damn.
that I actually can avoid.
Mark just
But I
said
mean,
we
it's
all
not
had to
like when I
come to
was
his
in
birthday
certain
party.
jobs lend themselves to that because my job is somewhat solitary. I don't have to work around people constantly all day long. I can kind of get off to myself.
You're gonna do a monologue.
I'm kind of an introvert by nature too. But I remember, some jobs where you had to be in the same office with someone all day long. You couldn't stand.
Oh.
I don't have an answer.
Are there some
Except
reasons why you couldn't stand them, Mark? I mean, is there any particular reason
because,
you're willing to
unlike me,
share?
they were horrible people. They weren't great like me.
Oh my God. To what Katie was saying about
I feel like if
inviting.
you're stuck with them, the first two things that I like to do is number one, I try this first. First, I try to empathize with them. Why are they acting the way that they're acting? If that doesn't work, then I try to find some common ground. So I talk about things that I know they like and I kind of like, enough to spur a conversation. And if those two don't work, you got to avoid them. And if you can't do that,
Oh my God. He's breaking this down like he's talking about stocks.
No, I know,
Um,
but you can tell that Weenie's a people pleaser.
Well,
That's
he's the
what I
guy
got
that's
from
gonna
him.
have me invite people to the wedding that I don't like.
as as you gain more leverage, you become less of a people pleaser. Like I noticed, like when I worked in corporate, you kind of have to be a people pleaser if you're brand new to the company. But the more leverage that you have, the more power you have to walk away and say no. Then you can become less of a people pleaser.
You'd be amazed at how many people in that corporate ladder respect you more for being that person that understands your self-worth than being that
Right.
people pleaser. But it is a fine line, and it's a hard one to navigate. What you were saying, I think it's totally on the other person. Why dictate to someone else at their event who they should bring? Mark remembers the song, "It's My Party. I can cry if I want to." It's my damn party. You're not
Yeah,
going to
Leslie
tell me
Gore.
who to invite and who I shouldn't invite to make you feel better. How about this? If it's going to make you feel bad that I don't invite this person, you stay home.
I know, but
You stay home.
sometimes it's your parents that are
I
like
don't
pulling.
give two shits.
I know, but sometimes you just have to. I don't like it, I'm not saying
Mhm.
I wouldn't do that to my kids though.
Mhm.
If they don't want to invite someone, just don't invite them. If you
No,
don't,
you chose to, and that's not a problem. And I'm not dumping on you for that
yeah, yeah.
because at the end of the day, you have to choose to or not. I'm just telling everybody that out there when we hear you have to, you only got to do it. What a famous person said, I ain't got to do nothing but stay black and die. Okay. So if I don't want this person at my party, they're not coming. And if you have a problem with it, you can stay your ass home too.
Can I
Well,
say
you
I
know
was
what? Sometimes, just like you say, you can do what you want to do, but at the same time, be willing to own how people are going to think about you. I mean, if you don't care that people are going to say, "Well, Lord, did you see he didn't even invite his own mama to the,"
They gonna
I mean,
say it anyway.
but I'm
That's
saying if you
true.
don't mind them
True.
saying that, then
I do mind, but here's the thing: if they I had a friend that he's a big streamer. No, it's not weenies. And there's a guy that comes on there because you can do super chats. And there's a guy that paid $100 just to call him a stupid N word.
Yep.
And he took the
Yeah.
$100 and said it out loud. And I said, "Why did you read that guy's chat out loud?" He goes, "Because he paid me $100 to do it.
Yep.
He's gonna call me it for free. People gonna talk about you regardless. So why am I gonna be miserable and you talk about me anyway, or I can be happy and you talk about me. I'm gonna
That
be
is
happy and you talk about me."
people will talk about you till the day that you die and afterward.
true.
Hey,
True.
let me ask you all this. Have you ever been, you talk about that person you don't want to invite and so forth. Have you ever been that person
I
that the
probably
person didn't
have.
want to invite and they invited you anyway? Because
Yes,
I went to a
yes.
wedding like that, and I knew that the people
yes.
who were involved in the wedding, I won't say who, I
Oh
knew
God.
they did not want me there, and they were
Oh.
doing it to please someone else.
Hmm.
You shouldn't say that about your bride, Mark.
It wasn't her, but it was
She
close.
she wanted to have the wedding, but
Oh,
she didn't
your
want you there.
sister-in-law
Wow.
wedding out without saying it? Was it the
It
sister-in-law?
No.
it was a family wedding, put it that way, and because we were told up front that at first, well, it was going to be a small affair, just a few people and so forth, but then as the wedding got bigger, the invitations started growing, and I can tell, well, we'd better invite them, or and so
Yeah.
I've been that person that they did not want to invite. So I went and had a good time, and I drank a lot of food. I drank a lot of ate a lot of food, drank a lot of booze.
Well, you know what?
Awesome
Hey, how
spot.
about this, guys? Because Mark you brought up these things about weddings. How about when you're trying to assemble your bachelor party and there's male friends that think they're going? It's like, no, you're
Never had one. So,
I mean, I don't know. If you're Jason, you want, the whole country and then other countries. You want them all coming. You want everybody there at the wedding, at the
You
at
want
the
everybody
bachelorette
doing
party,
you want everybody doing what?
at your party.
Especially with the wedding.
At your
Oh,
party. You want everybody at your party.
I,
okay.
I think
I
this
think
comes
it's an
down to like,
art.
oh,
No, go
go
ahead.
for it.
Because I didn't know what kind of party you were talking about the way you were phrasing that.
There are many kinds of parties.
No,
But
I'm
I think this comes down to like societal norms of what you should and should not do, as if there's like this, social rule book, as in like we feel like we should like hang out with our family a lot. We feel like we should invite all the family members, all the cousins. But in reality, there really are no rules. You should have at your party, at your wedding, who you want to be there, not just who like you feel should be there. And if you're at another wedding and there's some people that you don't like, or another event or party, it's kind of like you're doing the guest a favor just by getting along with them for that night. It's
I
kind of
think
like
it's an art to be able to get along with people that you know that don't like you. I
yeah,
mean, it's easy to give them the
well, I'm not
finger.
an
It's
artist,
easy
so
to give them some cursing words and tell them off. That's easy stuff. There ain't nothing hard about it. But when you know people don't like you and you can yet love the HELL out of them in the spite of,
yeah.
you can that's an art.
It gives
To
you
be able
power
to
too.
master that. Like even on your job, okay, so you're mad at me and it's on my job. Well, it's all going to be business.
hmm
And I'm gonna do my best to treat you as an associate and all this, that, and other. But if you try to hinder what I do on my job, then of course I'm gonna have to report you to the authority over us.
well,
But
especially if
if it's
you have
like
to
a
use the one that's
personal,
causing the
if it's a
problem.
personal thing, then eventually I'm just gonna come up to you,
Look at John
and
shaking
I'm
his
not
head.
gonna keep pussyfooting around with it. I'm gonna say, "What's up?
John's
You
still
don't
Because
like
shaking his head.
you
Now
don't
he's
like
rolling his
me?
eyes.
Bring it. I mean, come on."
there's a big ass difference between getting along and loving the hell out of somebody. I'm gonna tell you
Right.
this: you're not really getting along. It's still fake. It's not real. So are you really getting along? No, you're talking about being cordial, and I get it. Especially when you're talking about a work environment. We've all worked with people that we can't stand, or have been either had a manager or subordinate that we couldn't stand. And I've just been one to, I make it known. So now it's on you to decide if you're going to walk around me or say hi and all of that. I'm telling you, I don't like it.
I had a
Mhm.
manager one time that was very moody. I mean,
Uh
that was a
oh.
moody. I mean,
Okay.
that was a moody woman. I'm telling you. She'll come into work. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing all right? Everybody's doing fine. I give her 15 minutes at the max. Uh-oh, must be time. What's this? As long as we respect each other, could care less. If so, okay, all right, I get what. Yeah, but she would come in on her job. She would come in. Hi, everybody's doing fine. Then she would be as mean as a rattlesnake. I mean, she would just go off. I said, what is wrong with this woman? Just go off all mean and mad. I said, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? What's wrong? It was terrible. It made it so very difficult. But you know what? I mastered it. I learned to work with her. I learned how to work with her. I don't know how I learned, but I learned how to. Eventually, she left. She
That's
left.
how you learned. That's
That's how
exactly how
you
you
deal with it.
learned.
Yeah. Somebody
I
leaves.
mean, nobody could stand her. I mean, because I don't know if I went off on her. I'm not sure what I did, but
I love how when everyone's talking, we find ways to chime in, but when Lisette goes on her little monologue, we just all stare at the camera and let her go.
I'm listening.
Like
Because we
oh my
never know
God, just
where it's
wind me up,
going.
huh?
it's like
I'm
that
just
train.
happy to be here.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, that,
never know where it's going. So
that train just gets faster and faster. Just crashes.
But
what
just
if you
jump
don't?
in. It
What
don't
if you
have to
don't?
crash.
What if you
Jump
don't
in.
like your kids?
Wait, what?
What if you don't like your kids?
I mean, I feel like every parent at a certain time, you love them, but that doesn't always mean you like them. And they go through periods
Like
where
that with
they're
me.
sometimes just unlikable. But I mean, I feel like that's a whole different conversation because you're never gonna,
Typical waves,
you learn
not just
to,
kids.
exactly. You learn to
That is the
navigate through. I
norm.
don't know
You
what else to
love them,
say.
I
but you don't
Navigate
always
through.
like them.
that is the norm. I do know of people who have no contact with their parents or their children because they can't stand each other. Like,
yeah.
and
I
they
Yeah.
know I
don't like
currently
each
am with
other.
my adoptive dad.
Um,
Mhm.
and some people will say, "Well, that's your mom." And I always tell people when they say that, you don't know that person's life. I remember everybody remembers The Walking Dead, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Remember the preacher? He said he was explaining how his father was such a miserable SOB that on his father's deathbed, he said, I didn't even go see him because I didn't want to give him the satisfaction to think I cared.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Ooh.
I was like,
That-
that, and people say, how could this?
That's
I was like,
ridiculous.
that's telling, it's not ridiculous. If
It is.
somebody's it, no, it's not. If somebody's in that state, if somebody's in that state, you have no idea what that person's been put through that person. And
Hmm.
A lot.
just because you birthed me doesn't mean I have to like you. There are
Right.
some
Exactly.
miserable SOBs out here. So if it's a mom who has taken a hot comb and put it on her daughter's face and burned her every time she's been mad at her and she grows into adulthood and doesn't want to talk to and love her mother and hates her and doesn't want to see her on her deathbed, is that child wrong?
Yeah, there's some parents
I
do not
wouldn't
deserve
say.
honoring.
This goes back into defining what's right and wrong. Everybody has a different belief set for what is right and what is wrong. The super family oriented people would say that something like that is wrong. Completely on the opposite spectrum, I'm going to do what I want, screw family, they'd say, oh yeah, that's fine. And then there's obviously people in the middle,
Even with
depending on
those
their
three groups, I
experiences.
think they can. Even with all those three groups, I think they can all agree that the straightening comb to the face is wrong.
Yeah,
It's
and
wrong.
there's definitely
Absolutely.
levels of, of abuse or whatever, even if it's not apparent, you know what I mean? There's levels of what you want to deal with and what you don't want to deal with, or as you grow up from a child to an adult, what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with. And I think, when someone puts a hot comb on their child's face, that at that point, the child has a very valid reason to, exit stage.
Well, let me just ask this and say this and kind of ask question at the same time. Should you put any effort into a relationship when it is clear the other party is not putting any effort into the relationship,
No,
whether it's a
and I will
friend or a
justify that
relative?
for you right
That's a
now.
good question.
Because forgive and forget does not mean that you need to maintain or keep that person in your life.
Exactly.
I agree.
Forgiveness in that facet is
Exactly.
giving up the
Yeah.
hope that the past could have been any different. However,
Mhm.
forgetting is giving in to the fact that progression is accepting that you hold no place in their future and they don't hold any place in yours.
Right.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
answer.
That's what I.
I'm
That's what
gonna
I would say.
answer the actual
Good
question
question.
that you asked. Um,
Yeah,
in
you
the
did.
beginning, yes, because you said, should you put any effort? Yes, but if the effort is not returned, we've all had those friends. I've had a friend that I'm not friends with
And
anymore, and they said,
relatives.
"Do you want to be friends again?" And I'm like, "Hey, we can be friends again, but it's gonna have to be on your effort because what do they call those? Those are one-sided relationships."
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think it's
Yeah.
okay to sometimes, if there's something that happens or there's, or someone is being one-sided, it's okay to take a break and then revisit, after some time to see, especially if you really care about and love the person, that, take a break, back away, collect yourself and then try again. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But again, I think it goes back to when someone has had enough, they've had enough. And and at that point, and that's with any relationship.
Well, and sometimes you get to a point in a relationship, and this is particularly poignant with people that you do love, you're close to, where if they hurt you so often, at some point your survival instinct kicks in, and you got to say, "Quit hurting me. Don't hurt me anymore."
Right.
And some people, it's not so much that they're hurting you; it's just that, you know, why am I doing this? And with this twice removed cousin or this person you knew from high school or whatever, or a coworker, if they're not putting any effort into having a good friendship or relationship with you, then why should you?
Right.
Ken said, "Forgive, I'll forgive, but forgiving is another thing." I look at it like if you put your hand on a hot stove, and if it burns your hand, yes, it's going to heal, but does that mean you got to go back and put your hand up there, up there again? No, you
Yeah.
said, "Well, you burnt me one time, you're not going to burn me again." It kind of reminds me of something that Keone said about, yes, you should, try to, show some love to them. You want them to, show some love to you and show some love to them. That's all well and good. But, I just, I just think that you should just, just go on
No,
to the
what?
next person. Go on to the next
Well,
one.
Ken
and
said, "Hold on, Mark." Ken said, "When someone shows you who they are, believe." Okay, Ken's just gonna do all the great quotes. Gotcha, Ken.
I
He's
know,
just
and I
running
love
down
that one actually.
the quotes of Maya Angelou. Here we go. Christina says, "Why dump your energy into someone if they don't pour into you and the relationship you have together, whether it's romantic relationship or friendship?" And I agree with her. I said
yeah,
in the
Yep.
beginning because sometimes I realize that some people. Hey, here's the thing. We all say we're adults, right? Sometimes at 30, you can be the first person to open someone's eyes. Sometimes everyone has gone with how they are, the way they are, and you're the first one to show them something different.
Hmm.
So I can tell when I've had friends that I've now had for decades that I should have given up on in the beginning, but I understood that their idea of friendship was not correct, and they didn't know what a friend was. And so I put a lot of energy into showing them what a friend was, and now we've been friends for like 20 years. But again, that takes a lot of energy, and it really depends on the person. But you've got to recognize that one. Jennifer says, high school friend will not accept my apology. It's been over 15 years. I thought she could have at least hear me out, being that we were so close. But girl, she won't even acknowledge my message. And I'll
Same.
tell you this, you have to just let it go. And if
Mm-hmm.
she comes back,
You
she'll
you
come back
you've done what
because
you can do. That's all you can
So
do.
you
Right.
have.
people aren't going to want to hear your apology until they're ready to hear your apology.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't waste any more time, money, or
That's
energy
correct.
leaving a gift basket on a doorstep that's just gonna rot for a year.
So my thing is this, like, obviously I don't know this
I can't believe
Jennifer's.
that kid is not he's not 20 years old. He's like 60.
Got
Right,
to be.
right, exactly. He's a gift basket. Um, I don't know Jennifer's situation, so I mean, but I feel kind of like it's like sad to me that someone would go 15 years of and something happened in high school and you can't even hear someone out. I kind of find that sad for the person that doesn't want to hear it out. And
That's on
we
them.
don't know what the
Why
situation
though?
is.
Why do you feel sad though? Why?
I mean, I don't know. It seems like maybe she's just harboring some negative feelings that.
But
I
sometimes what happens is because someone keeps trying to apologize for me for something, and I'm like, listen, go be. I don't. Go
I
be
don't
happy.
care. Right.
Like
Right.
go away.
That's true.
We don't have to be accepting of each other or forgiving of each other. Everybody's an individual, and if someone has made up their mind that they don't want to forgive you or hear your forgiveness, it's something that you have to get over because it comes to some point is, am I apologizing to make myself feel better or apologizing because I'm apologizing? I'm not talking about Jennifer. I'm just talking about in
In
general.
general.
I was just
Yeah.
about to draw to that point.
Yeah,
Are you
because
trying
now
to
at this
forgive
point,
them or forgive yourself?
I know you saw my apology. I know you've heard my apology. Now I'm clear. I sent the damn apology out, and I meant it.
I think
After
that there
that,
can also be more to the story than meets the eye. And I'm not saying this is in Jennifer's case, but I've also noticed in multiple scenarios where one person isn't willing to forgive. Usually they have something else going on, or maybe they
Right.
just don't want to carry on the relationship and it's an easy excuse.
Mm.
It's an easy excuse. Like I've had people that have reached out to me and I'm just sometimes just too busy and sometimes I actually just don't want to continue that relationship and I feel bad at first for a bit, but then I'm like, I can't right now. I can't devote any energy to that relationship. So there could be multiple reasons behind the curtain besides what you see at the surface level.
Right. That's
I want to elaborate on that because
Yeah.
why should you forgive somebody that premeditatively put the thought into
Yeah.
hurting you in such a way and then forgiving them? You can forgive
It's their
yourself
loss.
and no
Let me
longer let them have leverage over you. But what about that?
well,
I think
we-
you should forgive them because you want someone to forgive you.
well,
Eventually, sooner or later, as
no.
long as you live on this earth, you ain't gonna be perfect, and you're gonna want somebody to forgive you.
Yeah, but
That
that
don't
doesn't
mean you
mean
gotta
you're
sit there
that
and
doesn't mean
continue to
you're
get
gonna
abused.
that doesn't mean you're gonna get it. I can want you to forgive me
That's
all you
fine.
want, but you may
right.
not. You may not do it. But Jackson, it really depends on what it was in your age. Okay, it's a lot harder to forgive somebody if you're immaturely emotional. Okay,
Right.
or what you did. Things are always. Remember when you were a teen? When we were teenagers, everybody forgets we were teenagers. Remember, the teenagers was the most important. Everything was the most important thing that ever happened in your life. The world was over every time something bad happened. You got dumped or
This
whatever
social
happened.
bubble.
The world
Right.
was over. So it is. It's a big difference trying to forgive somebody at 19 years old and trying to forgive somebody at 49 years old.
Yeah.
29
It
versus
depends on
59.
it depends
What's
on
the difference?
the severity of the wound that is
Mhm.
That's
inflicted
right.
on you. I mean, some wounds heal, some do not, and healing sometimes is a lifelong process, and sometimes it never really fully comes to fruition. So, uh, I mean, I agree with I know Lisette, the biblical ideal for forgiveness. I understand that, but that's also an ideal. It's just very hard for human beings to live up to.
It is. It is hard.
Especially with the people that we have in the world that are currently scarred. At least you're still alive, and whatever tried to hurt you didn't kill you.
But do you want to fake forgiveness? It's just like saying I'm sorry. Don't say I'm sorry if you don't mean it. Don't
I
forgive
agree.
somebody if you don't mean it. All right, you're forgiven. What did that do? That just made that person feel better. So that goes
Didn't
back to
make
my
you feel good.
are
I
you
actually feel
are
the
you
word.
asking for forgiveness to make yourself feel better or make the other person feel better that you're apologizing?
I have a
forgive
question. What about people that ask you for your forgiveness in front of people
That's
to the
making
point
So
them
there's
that
the social
they put you on the spot
Mm.
to the
Don't
point
That's like
that
asking somebody to
you
marry
can't
you in
really
front of everyone.
you
Not
don't
a
know
good
if you
thing.
should go ahead and air out what they did in front of everybody to help
They're
you
trying.
get
They're
all
trying to
your
shame. They're
pain
trying to
out.
shame. They're trying to shame you.
Into an
Right.
apology
Yeah.
right.
or into forgiving them.
That type of
That's
thing
making
should be-
you the bad guy because now with the ball's
That's
in your
right.
court. Hey, Keone, Lisette asked you for forgiveness on Facebook. What you gonna do? You gonna ignore it so
Yeah.
everybody can see you're
Have
ignoring
you
it?
forgiven? Yeah, that's things like that should be more private conversations.
Absolutely.
Especially the more severe the instance was. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Like,
y'all
agree.
leave Will Smith and Jada Pickett out of this, okay?
You said that, not us. Let the record show.
But it can also go the other way too. I'm thinking about this didn't happen to me, but it happened to somebody I knew. I was a probation officer at the time, and there was this judge who, thank goodness, I didn't have to appear in front of very often, who was just an egomaniac and so forth, always just ripping people apart in public. He did it once to an elderly probation officer, just ripped the guy a new one in front of everybody, got everybody in the courtroom, and then called him up later privately and apologized. You know, and so in that case, the judge, if he was going to apologize, he should have apologized in the
Yeah.
same manner that he embarrassed the guy. That's publicly.
That's a
Yeah,
good point.
you know what?
And so
What you
the
just
probation officer had no choice but to say, "Okay, yes, sir," but really he was thinking, "You f you," you know. So it depends on the dynamics of the situation.
what you just said makes sense. The apology should come in the same form that it got the incident happened. If it was a private incident, don't do a public apology. If it was a public, yeah. So that totally makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
I mean, it really hurts when someone hurts you. It hurts real bad. When you know how I feel to hurt, it hurts. I mean, but after a while, you got to.
Well, it
Sometimes
depends on
holding hurt will make you sick.
it depends on the
It will make you
relationship. I
feel
mean,
bad. It make you mean.
if
It
it's
just
a family member or a loved one, yeah, it hurts and so forth. But if it's someone you work with or a neighbor that you don't like anyway, then it doesn't hurt.
Well,
Yeah,
it might.
right.
I mean, I'm kind of like, you don't like me, I don't like you, fine.
Right, exactly. I literally refuse to allow people that I work with to have that much, energy in my mind to, to worry
To
about
hurt you.
what they think or how they feel about me or
That's not true. You work with me.
and you love me to death.
Christina says sometimes personality type is created by how we were raised. I am a people pleaser, which isn't the best way all the time because you put others' needs above your own. Don't get me started with
It's
that
true.
one. And then, hey, I'm a Cancer. I'm a lover, but I can agree. We have emotions like no others.
Okay, now let me just tell you a little something. That's my sister.
I
And
love
when
her
she
to
tells
death.
you that they have emotions like no other, she ain't
You
lying.
mean she had to grow up to and hearing that laugh? Good Lord.
Listen, she's got that laugh. My mom has that laugh. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm gonna get
No,
on the
it's
phone. You can
infectious.
hear-
I like it. You know what else I like? I like Weenie's Weekly Market Update.
Uh-oh.
That's
Oh.
another thing that I
We're
like.
going for it today. All right.
Bring it on, Winnie.
That's another thing that I like. I know Mark
I'll
likes
try
it.
for both sides.
Well,
It'll be
no
about
currency.
Recession, Greg, or else I'm shoving you in a locker.
Whoa. So everybody, let's get into Weenie's Weekly Market Update.
All right.
market update, where I talk about what the stock market did and forecast what the stock market might be doing moving forward. So lately, the market has been going up, and this is actually a line chart of our overall S&P 500. So up moves, down moves, up moves, down moves, and lately we're on a nice good up move in the market. What's actually been happening lately is there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on. You guys have probably heard of the banking crisis and all this crazy stuff going on. And right now, I'm going to be showing you guys the fear and greed index. And if we remember earlier, we want to be buying the market when it's under extreme fear. Think Warren Buffett, be greedy when everybody's fearful and fearful when everybody's greedy. Well, right now, the fear and greed index was fearful last week, so the market went up. Now it's at greedy right now. So the market could probably push a little bit higher short term, but then eventually drop over time. What's kind of happening right now is the Federal Reserve, in my opinion, is not really making a free market. Because of the banking crisis, they're actually using taxpayers' dollars to bail out the banks that made all these risky loans. And that's, in my opinion, a little bit unethical, but it's not like we have too much say in monetary policy. We're just the people. But the whole point is that the Federal Reserve might be propping up the market, which I find a little bit interesting because they're propping it up at higher prices. If you're going to prop up a market, it's usually better to do it after a crash so that people's 401ks don't get tanked. But either way, I'm wearing my I Believe Bigfoot shirt, and I don't really know exactly what to believe in. Do I believe in and trust the government to not destroy the US dollar? That's kind of at risk right now because they keep on printing money. And when they do that, think about supply and demand. When they keep making more supply of dollars, the value of the dollar inevitably over time has to drop. And so our dollars are losing purchasing power. I have to assume and hope that their hearts are in a good place and that they're doing the right thing long term for the American people and the economy. And so that's something to think about. The dollar is likely still to drop based on chart formations, based on candlestick patterns. And the way you can actually protect against that is you can actually buy gold. So if you type in GLD on your broker, you can actually buy gold shares. And as the value and price of gold goes up, then your shares gain value as well. So you can kind of like hedge. So for example, I have about 10% of my net worth in gold just recently as like a short-term trade. I'm not like a gold bug or anything or gonna like hide cash underneath my mattress, but it's always just a good little short-term trade and also a hedge to your overall wealth. So keep an eye on gold. Keep an eye on defense stocks as well. This is ITA. This is a ETF full of defense stocks, so like gun stocks and like war stocks. The reason that this is going up is because there's just more tensions, global tensions going on with the United States, China, and Russia. And that what people are doing is they're rushing into safe havens that are like gun stocks that'll profit from war. I know it's completely evil, but that's what people are doing right now. And people are flooding into this defense stock ITA. So that's something to think about. And then lastly, I just want to talk quickly about oil. Oil prices gapped up huge today. They moved up quite a bit. From the lows, they're up about 22%. But just in the last day, they went up 6%. And that's because OPEC cut their production of oil. So think back to supply and demand. When there's less supply, well, the price has to go higher because it's more scarce. Something that's scarce is more expensive because there's not as much of it. So think of that with oil and gas prices. I do think, though, that over time, it should resolve itself a little bit lower as long as we don't start closing above today's high. And you probably don't need to really measure that, but I'll keep you updated on oil. And then one last thing, if you're not into trading or anything like that, but you want your money managed by me and my mentor Romulus, we have this RIA program where literally it's only a 2% fee for the entire year. So if you put in $1,000 into the account for the entire year, it only costs you $20. So something to think about if you are not interested in trading but want your money managed by us. I know not a lot of you guys are traders, but we're going to be taking trades like oil, gold, and ITA, and we just do it for you. So that's what we're looking at in the markets. Lots of risk ahead, but maybe the government can save us. Let's get back to the show.
Thanks
Well,
a lot, Weenie, for the update.
yet another business,
What
yet
have I
another business too
done?
big to
Go
fail. When does that
again.
stop? Greg, when does that stop? Every business is too big to fail. Now, every time a bank goes out of business, that they get bailed out.
I
And the
know.
other thing is that I think they're talking about how deposits are insured
Mhm.
up to a certain amount,
250.
but
Yeah.
now they're saying, oh, that's not enough. We need to insure people for an infinite amount almost
Probably because of
That's
inflation.
scandalous. Can we talk about
because this happened in Silicon Valley. We don't want those people to go bankrupt.
Did
Yeah.
that's why my uncle still keeps his money under his mattress.
Should you
Is that
keep your
I
Harold?
money
don't
in
know
a
what's the right move, but it's a tricky situation.
You know what? He
Weenie?
doesn't get any interest on that money in his mattress, but he doesn't get any,
But at least he has it, no
it
matter
doesn't get
what.
frozen.
Yoni,
Should you keep your money in a safe deposit box?
is that your Uncle Harold that does that?
No, why? Oh my God,
I
no!
think you should divvy a certain
Just
amount.
asking. I don't know.
go?
I just say spend
He
your
wants
money
to
at
know
the
because he
strip
knows where
club.
Uncle Harold lives.
No, you just spend your money on the strip club and you'll
At
be
least
fine.
you get a use out of it.
All right, so Greg said go buy gold.
None of this is
Wow.
financial advice. I am currently in gold and expect it to move higher over the next 3 to 6 months.
And
Alright, I'll
I
go-
put in our internal chat. I hear the ghost of G. Gordon Liddy
Oh
going
God,
on TV and saying, "Invest in gold." That
Gold is honest money, which is why
that
it's not
Watergate
like
psycho G. Gordon Liddy.
right, Jackson, right.
You got
Lisette,
it.
get control of this.
You know what? It's
G. Gordon
your
Liddy. G. Gordon Liddy.
turn. Do what you want to do.
Can I just
No,
tell
but
you
really,
that?
getting back to the show. Getting back to the show.
Let me just
Thank
say
you,
one
Weenie.
thing. Every single time I hear Weenie's weekly moment, weekly update, I cannot stop thinking about Mark's rendition of it every
Oh,
time.
Oh God.
Yes.
Well, not that actually was I just realized something. That was my impersonation of G. Gordon Liddy. G. Gordon Liddy and Greg sound a lot alike.
I just don't like when Weenie does the weekly market update and he puts the mic right up to his lips because it looks like a giant black penis in front of his face.
Just
You
lick
don't
it.
need to know about your
You
face.
would
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
It's very,
I
very.
really love this microphone.
Oh no! And then you got to wrap your hand around it, Greg. You're not
I'm just
helping the case
adjusting it.
here.
I'm just adjusting it. Don't mind me. Optimal sound quality.
Pay close attention to how he touched the tip, everybody.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
That's it. Okay, guys, back to the show.
Oh my God. We're way out there.
Homo erotic fantasies.
Oh.
Jeez.
Wow. So,
Bryce, you can't use
You
this
don't like
mic anymore.
Lisette's thrown off. She's thrown off now. I ruined her.
I've been off, but
Well, we know that, but I'm talking about for the show.
but really, honestly, getting back to the show, has anybody ever came to your face and told you that they didn't like you? I mean,
Yeah,
got
they-
all up in your groove there.
Yeah, they didn't have a face
Yeah,
anymore.
I'm lying a lot, but never to my face.
You don't want
I
me
was-
to answer that question.
I was a probation officer in a previous life. It happened all the time.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
between
just told you.
sometimes separated by jail bars.
Right.
He might die when I
A little
answer.
barrier there, you know. I'm not sure what the problem was.
It's a silly question to ask a black man who's grown up in the South. Has anybody ever told you to your face they don't like you?
Right.
That's an easy answer to that.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
You did not grow up in the South. You grew up
Yeah.
in Miami, Florida.
Yeah, and we weren't allowed to go in Coral Gables in the '80s because we looked a certain way, and you would get in trouble. It's different.
Well, I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying you didn't grow up in the South.
the Southern people live there. Okay.
well, have you ever had someone to talk down to you at work? That just made you feel, like a little bit.
Yeah, they're called supervisors.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, but how'd you handle that?
I have never,
Oh,
even with supervisors that I like, I have never seen a supervisor that didn't get exponentially smarter the minute they got promoted, and everyone else got dumber.
Yep.
I
It's
want to
hard.
know my school counts because the majority of my life, my occupation was a student.
Then you should know. You should have a whole lot to talk about because sometimes teachers will talk down to these kids, and don't get me wrong, the kids are little but sometimes the teachers
Wait,
talks
did,
like
did I press a sound effect? The kids are a little what?
I
What
didn't
is
want to
that?
curse.
I
I didn't
like
want
that.
to curse in front of Lisette.
I
Why?
like that.
Say it. Some of these kids are assholes. Just say
They
it.
Well,
are. They
I'll
are.
have to say though, I mean that is an occupational hazard, I mean, and I'm sure I'm bad about it too. Right? And so I'm not talking about kids; I'm talking about young adults. But I went through as a graduate student. And here I was, 30 years old, and as a probation officer, I had dealt one-on-one with judges and sheriffs and prosecutors, and now I'm in a classroom being talked down to by some professors. So, but I'm sure I'm guilty of the same thing.
Right. I have a supervisor now that whenever she's talking to you and you say something like different than what she's got in her mind, she goes like this. No, no, no.
Hold on. Don't
Yeah.
don't do it because I don't want you to get fired because I don't pay you enough.
You'll never know devastation
Well,
until a teacher
but
that you don't even take the class of belittles you and tells you that a ring on her finger is older than you and does what it's supposed to. It sits on her finger.
Ooh. I would have told her I have a finger she could sit on.
Ooh.
Weenie, what
well,
about when you've been
Something.
streaming? Because you're streaming a topic which is about stocks. I'm pretty sure, especially in your booming days during COVID, I'm pretty sure you had people come in and chime in and act like you don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Oh yeah, I mean, in the market, that's what makes a market is everybody's got an opinion. There's buyers and sellers at every single stock price. So if you say, "Oh, I like Tesla stock at this price," you'll get a ton of people that say, "You're an idiot. Tesla stock's overvalued." Or you'll get a bunch of group of people be like, "Yeah, Tesla stock. Let's go." And so there's definitely a lot of sides in the market. Luckily though, like over time, if you create a good culture and you're in control of the show, you do tend to just have just nothing but good people. I would say like one in every like 10,000 comments is something like stop trading the stock market, stop posting videos, I hate you. But you only remember those one comment out of the 10,000.
yeah.
The other people are really nice, and it's the culture that you create. But certainly in the market, you have to have thick skin if you're going to be on YouTube or doing media.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And certainly, yeah, you really do have to have thick
I
skin.
got a big one for Lisette.
We.
What about having to be in a congregation with someone you don't like? Now, I may not be talking about you specifically because you might like everybody, but what about when it comes to that? Because
You know,
as kids being in church, y'all be acting like we don't hear everything. Y'all be
mhm.
hugging and smiling and telling like, hey, and then we hear y'all saying the other stuff. I can't
For
stand
sure.
that.
I agree. There have been
Oh,
some people
the
in the
Sunday afternoon dinner conversation. Yeah, right.
there have been some people that I didn't like in the congregation, some people that I know that did not like me. And I would see, I would try to examine us now, what have I done to this person? Have I done something
Mhm.
ugly to them? And if I know that I've done something ugly to them, I'll try to say, well, I did do that. Let me go and apologize to them. But if I know I haven't done anything to them, I'm saying like, okay, you're being a little bitty, so, you don't, okay, okay,
Point.
whatever, but in the midst of it all, I do my part still. I try to be nice to them. I really do. And because I have to be able to lay down at night and stand before my maker, that I did my best to do what was right, but but after a while, I'm gonna have to pull the person to the side and say, look, what's up? What's going on? That's how you're supposed to do it anyway. You're supposed to go to that person and say, what is it? If you
What
can't, get things together, as long as you did your part, let it go. I
Here's
mean,
the
just like you said,
right.
What did I do to offend you, you old biddy?
Your
that's
hat was
right.
The
You little
thing
hateful
about
self.
talking behind closed doors, especially with children present, because they're always told to stay out of grown folks' conversations.
but yet y'all keep putting us in it.
You are never more observant than when your mouth is closed. If there is one person in this world that is going to be brutally honest, it is a child.
That's true.
Mm.
That
She
is
doesn't
true.
like you because your
For
hat was
sure.
bigger than hers. So, Mark, is Maslow right?
The hierarchy.
Well, the
Yep.
hierarchy of
The
needs.
hierarchy of needs.
Well, I mean,
You know
what
which
does
one I'm
that have to
talking
do?
about.
Yeah, no, I know what it is, but how does it relate to what we're talking about, though?
Well, which one is it? Is it the one that we have a need for acceptance?
Yeah, I forget which one it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like a need for acceptance.
Yeah. Well, so those who don't know, like you help me out too, Keone, but the bottom, the lowest need is food and shelter and so forth, and then the highest is self actualization.
Yeah,
You can get to that.
we've seen the. That's why like hermits are fascinating to me because those aren't normal humans. Because humans, no matter how much people say, "Well, I don't care" or "I don't really this," we all do.
We do.
We all
Yeah, you
need
need people.
some type of social interaction, some type of
Yeah.
acceptance from others.
Right.
So hermits kind of fascinate me that they don't have that need for an acceptance from anyone.
I can see what you're saying.
But we also wonder, are these hermits you're talking, are they really mentally healthy, living that way?
Yeah, and also what kind of resources do they have? If you don't like get along with anybody, not to say that hermits don't, but then you can't really live in society. So we need to find the balance of not caring what anybody thinks about us versus caring about everything that everybody says about us.
Right.
Because we have to live in society. We got to get along with each other.
Well,
we
the
gotta work
hermits, I'm talking
together.
about the ones that live in like the middle of the woods by themselves. Or I was watching one today about this guy that lives in
Should've
Siberia.
said a recluse.
That's the life you want. If that's
That's a
what you're
societal
optimizing for.
recluse, Keone.
That's a what?
A societal recluse.
Yeah.
That's a hermit.
If you're okay with that lifestyle, then yeah, self-actualization, being happy and achieving other goals are two separate things.
I need the touch of another human.
I touch you.
No, Lisette,
Yeah.
calm
Not
down.
like that.
Down, girl.
Sounds like the
Oh, monster.
Ernest Langley hour, putting hands on people.
Apparently, Greg is stimulating himself with that mic over there, but we're not touching that.
Oh my God. Anyway,
Let
so
me ask you something. Can you tell when people don't like you on your social media sites? Can you tell when they don't? Not so much the
I can
comments,
tell.
but the hearts, the likes, the shares. Can you tell?
I guess you'd have to be popular on social
Listen.
media in
Yes.
order to understand.
listen,
In order to
people,
know the answer to that.
You
People
got
are
a choice
petty.
there. You don't have to. You can excise someone from social media.
no,
I mean,
but
don't worry about
people
that.
are people are petty. We could all have the same mutual friend, and Mark could post something, and we all comment, and that person will purposely go and like everyone's comment and make a comment to everyone's comment and skip over Lisette's
That's
like
true.
they didn't see it.
I said
Hey,
somebody
that's
did
us.
something exactly like that to me, and then came to my face and was like, "I don't like you." I said, "That's okay. I wouldn't want somebody as ugly as you to like me in the first place."
Oh,
My grandfather used to say stuff like that. I don't like that guy. I wouldn't pee on him if he was on fire. It's like, "Jeez."
You gotta have some tough skin.
John, I had a boss who used to say, "I wouldn't piss down your throat if your guts were on fire."
Okay, we didn't have to. I just did the same thing. You didn't have to.
Mark, I was planning on eating after we got off of here. Thank you for that.
Well, you should be
Are you
fine.
sure?
Just don't drink anything.
Because let me show you what happened on Dr. Pimple Popper.
No,
No,
Lisette,
no,
I-
no.
It looked like
Kid.
some chicken.
Ken, get your mama. Please get your mama. We
She
always
squeezed that
well,
bump.
this is the problem with Weenie's weekly market update. We get on a good roll. As soon as that update comes, we go off the rails.
You don't have to.
Come get your
It's just
wife.
there if you want it.
He sleep.
I like the flow of the show too before the update. It's still good now.
And she be squeezing it, look like cottage cheese
I've heard.
sometimes. She squeeze that big bump.
Stop.
I am
Stop.
so dead right now.
She put sleeping medication in Clarence's food for me.
Mark, this is your friend.
This is my what?
She's your friend.
Whose friend?
Yours, Lisette.
I don't have
She's
any
your
friends.
friend.
Mark said, I don't have friends.
She's closest to you in age.
Oh, okay. Well, that
That
makes us
doesn't make
friends.
her his friend. That makes her here.
I don't know. Lisette, what?
No. Stop with the hand motions. We still know what you're trying to
Then it just pops. All of a sudden, all the juice just flies everywhere. It's
Lisette,
interesting.
I am this
Don't do it.
close
Okay, I'll
They're
cut
back
it.
to
Cut
restaurant
it.
this
stuff.
Cut it.
close to
The
throwing.
cut. Have your mom ever did this to y'all when your kids? Cut it. Cut it.
I still I still do that. I do that to my husband now. The
Really?
other the other night we were out somewhere and he was saying something to someone that I didn't want him to say, and we made eye contact, and I'm like,
It's not even a movement or a gesture.
No,
He
other
just
people can
stares
see
at
when
me
you
and
do
gives me a
that.
look, and I know
You
it's
know,
like,
you just brought up your husband. This happens a lot in relationships, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, marriage, whatever. You've had a longtime friend, and your girlfriend or your soon-to-be wife or husband does not want you to be friends with that person because they don't like them.
yeah.
That's not good.
That's tricky. That's where you really have to talk it out.
I
That's
know.
Yeah.
that's
The
It
controlling.
underlying
is
reason
tricky
It
because
why.
there's
Yeah.
certain
it
things.
might depend on the reason. There may be a
Right.
reason for that.
Well, no. I'm
But
not. So I'm gonna do an easy hypothetical. It's not
okay,
some reason like they did something bad to that person. Like someone
right,
was saying in the chat earlier, some people just don't click. They don't get along. It's one of the, and we've all heard this before. I don't know what it is, but I don't like this person, right?
right.
And it's very hard with a long-term friend because I've had that happen to me before, as well as all of you. And my answer, which can get you in hot water, but it's my answer is like, listen, this friend's still been there through everyone who didn't want me to be friends with them. Like, if you have a really, really good friend, I'm not saying this, a bad friend who does conniving things, but like this really good friend that's been friends with you for 20 plus years. They've been through all the relationships you've been through. They're not trying to sleep with you. We're getting rid of all of those little behind the scene things, but we've seen the ones where it's just like, I don't want you to be friends with that person.
I think we just dredged up old wounds. Why did Weenie get so
Don't
close
don't
to the camera?
don't approve. I would not try to pick my wife's friends for her. It wouldn't work. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
One thing. Uh, I'd get a kick in the ass real quick once, but no, I think that's controlling. I've known people to do that. Say don't hang around that person anymore, and like I said, for no reason other than I don't like them or because they're taking
crazy.
time away from us. No.
So you're
Now,
saying that's
Mark,
not a hill you're going to die on. Okay.
Mark and everybody, I have a question for you guys. There's been a lot of back and forth going on should your girlfriend have male friends or should your boyfriend have female friends if you're in a relationship? To what extent do you think
That's
that
an easy
is
one for me.
okay, quote unquote? Or can guys be friends with girls? Can girls be friends with guys? And to what extent?
The easier
It can
answer
be
to
dicey.
that, the easy answer
Yeah.
to that is yes, but then there's variables. For instance,
There is.
if you were friends, it's a difference between prior friends and new friends. Like you're dating a girl and these guys have been her friends since high school or whatever, versus, hey, I've got some new friend that I just met last week. That's when it becomes dangerous. Number two, what was the old relationship? Have you always been platonic friends or did you date this person 3 years ago and
Absolutely.
now you're friends?
Yeah.
That can
That's
happen.
not
too.
going to
Because,
happen.
because I'm very good friends with my ex-wife, and I'm also very good friends with the last three people that I dated. So, and we're just friends. So it just depends. Maturity level of the adult plays a very important role in it. We are constantly watching adults have high school relationships, and what I mean is they act out like they're still dating in high school. Like you're adults. You can have a conversation and tell. If you can't tell that your girlfriend or spouse has feelings for this friend, not your jealous feelings or get out of your own head, then that's a problem. It also comes to security. How secure are you
Right.
in
If
your
you can't even have a
relationship?
conversation with that person about the topic or a topic in that general area, then the two of you don't need to be together.
Right.
I'm like this. I think you should throw it back at yourself. How would you like if your significant other had an old friend and they still friends?
Right.
I mean, and like
That's
just like
usually
you
a pretty
said,
good litmus test right there.
just
Shoe
like
on
you
the other
say,
foot.
if they were once, really dating and stuff, of course, no, you do not have to continue to maintain your friendship with this person? How do I know if some blue moon you might get some feelings? I mean,
I mean, that's
I
where
say
you just have
no.
to have trust in the person.
I know, but is it necessary to continue to maintain that friendship? Why?
So
I mean,
I have
why?
two scenarios. One, I have a gay best friend that I spend a lot of time with outside of, like without Jason, because I'll usually hang out with him when Jason's at work. Now, we do spend time together with Jason as well, but we go a lot of places alone when it's just us. And Jason has never, ever once said anything to me about my friendship with him, ever. Like, and I don't know if it's because he's gay or if it's just because Jason trusts me, but whatever. And then I've had a Jason popped up. He said, "I like him," but
I can understand it, but what if it was someone that you know that
So-
was used to be attracted to you, and you?
So before I was married, I dated this jerk, and I had a guy. It was my sister's father-in-law. Him and I, and so he was much older. Yeah, my sister, her father-in-law, and so there's a substantial age difference between him and I, like 25 years or something. He would get us the senior citizen discount. But we used to go out motorcycle riding all the time. I mean, I was with him. I spent a lot of time with him before this relationship, pretty much every weekend for probably 2 years. And when I started dating the person, he completely cut him out of my life. Like, you can't hang out with him. I don't want him around. And I guess the stupidity, it was pretty sad because I definitely missed that friendship, and we were a tad inappropriate together, but never crossed any sort of lines, but joked
Well,
around a lot.
wait a minute. How are you a tad inappropriate? Never crossed lines.
I mean, this is before the relationship. We would joke around. There was a lot of joking around that would happen. We went on a motorcycle ride to Tennessee, and it was like a 4-hour ride. And every time we stopped the motorcycle, I'd be like, "Can you please rub my butt?" Like,
Oh Lord!
Oh,
But
Stacey,
you never crossed the line.
listen, it's adult. Man, you're an adult. You're fooling around. I tell you like this.
in a joking around manner, not a
You're-
serious
you-
manner.
Even if you
Okay.
weren't, who cares? You're adults. You are not getting rid of long-term friends, especially if this friend has been by my side and been there for decades. You're not getting rid of it because you know what? They always outlast these people. Okay, so we're gonna have a because what you don't want to, the person that does that doesn't want you to do it to them. That's usually the thing too. So I'm not gonna tell you to get rid of. Only time I'm gonna tell you to get rid of a friend if I think that person's a dirtbag.
But let me throw a monkey wrench in there. There are times when you need to say goodbye to certain people, and not because necessarily they've done anything terrible. It's not that, but I think I mean, if I still lived in my hometown, would I still be hanging out with the people that I was friends with in high school? No, not because
No,
they've
but
done
those
anything
aren't long
bad.
term. No, that's different. That's a
No,
friend
they're
that's
still
no,
friends.
no,
But I
no.
mean,
But that's a long term friend. I mean, I have friends from high school that I knew 1997. We're still friends because we haven't. I'm talking about that friend that's there, all in your the friend that's there, not
Right.
the
Yeah.
one that's from high school or that lives in your old hometown. I'm talking about the one that's there in your city, your friend. They have access to you. You have access to them.
Right.
I
yeah,
understand.
Because this is what happens in those scenarios. You get rid of that friend, then that relationship ends, and now you're coming
I
back
got
to my
nobody.
hey. You come back to my hey my ass.
yeah.
Right.
If
Well,
you
I knew
lose
someone.
I understand
This,
what you're
not
saying.
having your
this,
friends for a relationship, that says a lot more about you. I've been in the exact situation that Keone's talked about, to where you two do not get along. You've identified that, and you can acknowledge that. However, if the person you are dating is trying to force a bond between these two people, is when an exponential problem arises. I even identified that, and I was like, if you continue to try to force this fake scenario that's going on in your head, there will be blood. Leave it alone. And we even ended up
Be
breaking up
blood.
4 months later.
Daniel
And I was
Day-Lewis.
like, see, look at that. You still got your best friend, and I've still got all of my knives clean.
but I knew someone once. This is a middle-aged man. He was the father of some friends of mine, and he lost his wife. God rest her soul. And he and his wife would go out and socialize with these other couples. And then when he lost his wife, not long after, he starts dating somebody else. And he calls up people almost one by one and says, "I just want you to know I'm not going to hang out with you anymore. I'm not going to go eat and things because I have a new life now. So goodbye." Uh, and it never came back to bite him like that. But it's just kind of strange, is all. But on the other hand, he and this new woman would not fit in with this old crowd. So he kind of had to say goodbye, I guess.
It was his choice. I mean, I don't think you should live. Let's say, like, if you're single. I mean, at one time you were single, so now you're married. You should not live your married life like you're single. I just want to go hang out with my girls or
Yeah.
my guys or whatever. I just want to hang out with my friends. No, you have a partner now. You can't always do what you used to do.
In
You
the
know, when you
words
were
of
single.
That's a
and
different
not
thing,
to
though.
mention, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Well, it's also, but see,
George
here we
Jefferson.
go. We're talking about two different things again. The one thing I loved about my wife is when we were married, we had our time, then we had, hey, go with your girls' time, go with the boys' time. But you do have these couples where that gets tiring because that one person in that relationship wants everything to revolve around them. Every holiday,
Oh yeah.
everything. And it's like, oh my God,
It's
let
not
me
fair.
breathe. You
True.
know, so we
Not fair.
had holidays that we considered like family holidays, and then we had holidays that, I mean, like 4th of July, who cares? Go to the party with your girls. I'm going to the club with my guys, and then, I'll see you on Valentine's Day. I'll see you on it's just trying to find that balance. But I've seen those relationships where it's like, you're on lockdown, no friends, no doing
Oh yeah.
this. It's all just me.
Right.
Yes,
And
boy.
when the
You can't do
I had a
insecurity
that.
cousin like that.
play,
Yeah.
it's just not a pretty sight to see. Like, oh yeah, I totally don't care that you go hang out with your friends. Have fun. Oh, are you sure? Are you certain? I am not a parent. I will not repeat myself. If I have to say it again, you are not leaving.
Well, do you know why they say that, Jackson? Because a lot of people will say that, and then what was that?
Exactly.
I think it was that Kevin Hart comedy special. He said, "You ever had your lady call you and she hears you having fun, and then she instantly gets mad because you're
Mad,
having
right?
fun? You pick up the phone and you're like, hey, all right, hey, stop playing, Jackson. Hey, what's up, baby? Nothing. Do you click? Like, damn.
I feel like I'm like that to Jason sometimes. Oh, you're having fun without me? Really?
Yeah, like, geez, fun happens without me.
Could you?
Great show today, guys. We got to wrap up.
Yep. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. Look, hey, we know how to have fun on this show. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see Mark and Jackson and Greg and Katie and Keone. It's good to be here. Tune in Monday. Tune in Monday. Tune in Monday. Tune in Monday.
You're not
You know what I'm
supposed to cut
saying?
across
Well,
your
Tune
we'll
in
be
for
here.
content.
We'll be here. We love you. Honestly, we love you, and thank you for your comments. Thank you for your patience. We love you guys. So we're gonna have another great topic for you Monday. Okay. And hey, have a great week. All right.
And by the way, Greg, by the way, Greg's mic was made from a mold from me.
I was gonna say, a sensor bar for that mic.
Wow.